Greetings and welcome everyone to Friday's Inspiration today. We have a really great topic, more about men this week. So last week we were talking about men and we were addressing three different areas that really relate to men and the issues that they face. And just want to make sure I don't forget what they were. So hang on just one second. It had to do with stepping into your power. Hang on just one second. There it is. It had to do with stepping into your power, how to access more of your true personal power, and the letting go of the judgments, that not enoughness. Men really struggle with all of the expectations that are put on them. And then the third thing we discussed last week was all about your personal sovereignty. So as we're waiting for a few more people to show up, for those of you who don't know me, I've been in the healing arts for more than 40 years, started off doing body work. And over the years, that's morphed and changed through the use of plant medicine. I've done extensive journeys in the Amazon jungle with shamans. And after about 25 ayahuasca journeys over 5 years, I was able to break through the Hawkins Scale, which was a scale of human consciousness, but it only went to a certain level. And so now that was in 2012, we've broken through that scale. And I was given a scale that's called the Infinity System that continues to morph, grow, and change as humanity is growing and changing, as we should be, right? And so this system, in fact, today I'm going to be sharing something new that I've discovered that's been downloaded, some new information that relates specifically to men. So I'm excited to share that today. And so spent a lot of time with working with plant medicine and also working with Dr. David Hawkins Scale. And this is how this new scale was created. So I broke through that in 2012, and now we are accessing all new realms, dimensions. And for those of you who show up here, I know that you're more interested in a more elevated, more conscious way of doing things. And people are realizing, both men and women, that the 3D way of operating in the world, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's in with your health, all of these are just not working the way they used to. So we're stepping into new realms. And especially since we've been stepping into this new golden age, this age of Aquarius, we stepped out of this age of struggling and suffering. And now we've entered this age where it's all about knowledge, information. And of course, the important thing is getting the right information. So how do we determine that is a big question. And so one of the ways that I determine this is I work with about 40 different guides, and I am a good listener. I'm always listening to the information. And so over the years, I used to do dowsing. I used to do muscle testing. Now I just count and I get an internal yes or no, an internal answer. And this is how I work with my guides and accessing information. And of course, one of the things that you can always do to confirm that the information you're receiving is from a good source, that it's something worthy of listening to, is to ask the question, is this from pure source energy? Is this from pure source? If you get anything less than an immediate yes, then disregard the information. So great to see all of you here. We have a great international audience. I see India, I see British Columbia, I see Denmark and Maryland, and of course, always London. And it's so great to see all of you here today. So as more of you are showing up, we are, hang on, there's a funny thing happening here. Okay, we'll just let it be that thing. Okay. So today, we are talking about masculine energy. This has really come to the fore for me because I've really noticed how neglected the male population in general feels. And so since I decided to start working and talking more about masculine energy, one of the things that I did was I watched a documentary on the recommendation of a male friend called The Red Pill. It was about a woman who was originally a feminist who decided to do some research on men. But the bottom line that I walked away from this documentary was that was important was how marginalized men feel and how disposable they feel. They're used for all the wars. Very, as we know, very, very, very few women are in any of our military. And men are given all the jobs that have the highest death rates, the most dangerous jobs, and they have the highest suicide rates. And so men are really feeling disposable. And of course, I believe this is all by design, that the powers that be don't want men empowered in their true, authentic power. I'm not talking about the angry, fighting, warring kind of power. I'm talking about the kind of power that can really stand in a very grounded, confident, courageous, brave, certain kind of way. And so the powers that be, they don't want men standing in this kind of power because they know that it will challenge what's going on in the world and what's going on the planet. So the more passive they can make men, the more disposable they make men feel, then it weakens the whole population, our whole culture. And so it's really important, I believe, that we support men. And the work that I do, of course, women seem to be more attracted to it. It's very intuitive, it's energetic, and so forth. However, it's working on the human energy field. So I'm not promoting one or the other, and I'm not a feminist. But I am supporting, and I am in support of people and humans becoming their best selves. And so the energy work that I do applies across the board. And so today, though, and last week, we are focusing it more specifically to male issues and male things, men things. So one of the, and this is all related to the advice you never got from your father. So our fathers were all in 3D, right? And so now we've stepped up, we've evolved into this whole new way of being. So the information, the advice, the knowledge that you're getting here, you would never have gotten from your father, probably not from your mother either. So we are stepping into really some elevated ways of being. And we're going to introduce to men today a new way of grounding that is specific to men. So the three topics that I wanted to talk about today related to, hang on just a second, let me get my notes. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so I think I'll go with the third one first. And this is a common one that affects obviously both male and female. But I think it's something that a lot of men struggle with because they don't know how to release it, they don't know how to change it. And so, what I'm talking about is how people energetically cord to each other. And this can be especially hard for men when they exit a relationship and they want to move on, but this energy keeps holding them back. I remember working with this one gentleman who had been in a relationship and kept breaking it off and breaking it off and breaking it off. And she just kept coming back and he couldn't stop thinking about her and he couldn't get rid of her. And it said, this is how the whole spell thing came to my awareness was he says, it feels like she's got a spell on me. So I thought, wow, let me check. And sure enough, she not only had a spell on him and Well, that was the biggest thing, but also courting. So those are two different things, but two very related. So oftentimes when you're in a relationship and you tend to court instead of using your voice to communicate, it can affect the different parts of the body that they court to. So if you're in a past relationship and the woman is now courting to your solar plexus, she's going to be holding down your ability to move forward and putting a kind of a harness on your power. Your third chakra is your power center. And so with that, it can make you feel unmotivated and hard to get things done. You have to use a lot more effort. And then if they're courted to your sixth chakra, then they will always be on your mind. You just can't get them out of your mind. And sometimes they will channel a lot of anger through your energy field, plugging into your second chakra, so forth. So however they're going to be courting to you, they can really hold back your power and your energy and your ability to move forward. And then with the spells, of course, this is something I can just ask whether or not someone has any spells, how many, where they are, and then easily remove them. So what happened with this gentleman was I found the spells, we found the cords, we removed them, and he immediately felt lighter and, was not so obsessed with this woman, etc. I found out a week later he was like completely over her, was already starting to be in a new relationship. And so this is how easy so many of these things can be, and how easily and quickly we can change these things, unless you're holding on to those old beliefs that it has to be hard, that everything's hard. And I know this is very common for men because they work hard for a living. That's like an ingrained programming. And so how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're having to always work hard, then everything becomes hard, and including the concept or idea that you can release these things, that it can't be that easy. But I'm here to tell you that it can be that easy. And so that's one thing that can yield very quick and rapid results, is clearing these spells from past relationships and and cords. So that can really hold people back. And so, thank you for the reminder, Roma. For those of you who love coming here every week, please like, share, and share this with your friends, and subscribe so that you click on those bell notifications and you get notified when we're on every single week. We've been doing this for more than 4 years. I think I've only missed a couple Fridays. But at any rate, so it's always appreciated that you share this with your friends. And all you women, share this with your men friends and your fathers and your uncles and your brothers and etc. So that we can get the word out that this doesn't have to be hard, and there is support for men, and it can be pretty magical, the results that can happen pretty quickly. The second thing that I wanted to talk about that really affect men is their ability to receive. So a lot of them struggle with, as we talked about last week, all the judgments in the heart. And we're going to be doing a MediClearing here shortly, where we're going to be clearing all of these energies. So we're going to be measuring if there's any spells and cords. And this next part or piece of your invisible energy anatomy has to do with your ability to receive. So there's a channel of energy that runs through our arms. It starts with the heart. So if you're a man that already has a very closed and guarded heart because of past painful relationships or past hurts, or just not being able to trust, maybe from a very, very young age, that you discovered that the world is not trustworthy, that it's going to be pretty hard. You're going to use all that effort to give out into the world. That's what men do. That's the masculine energy, is giving. And then it's going to be hard to receive the support, to receive the love, any admiration, any kudos that can come your way. And so we're going to be clearing that today, because so many people are, and this includes women too, so a lot of what we're talking about here applies to women, but we're gearing it specifically to men, because I know that men, they may try to give, but they don't feel like they're receiving. So in this, you often hear about give and take, which feels like an equal energy. Yeah, give and take, and it's, it all seems to work that way. But both of those energies are, you're in control. When you give, you're in control, and you know who you're giving to and how much and when and how. And then when you take, it's the same thing. You know who you're taking from, how much, when, from whom, etc. However, there's a different energy that can be run through this circle that relates to giving and receiving. The reason that's different is because when you receive, you're not in control. You have to surrender. You have to allow. And for a lot of men who have their guards up, that can be very hard. That can be very challenging to surrender and allow and be vulnerable. So by simply opening this channel, you can start to allow yourself to receive without any effort. It's no effort on your part. It's just allowing the channels to flow, and magically things start showing up. It's pretty amazing. And the third thing that I wanted to talk about, and I would say this is the most important thing, relates to a new way that we're going to be grounding with men. And talking about testosterone is, obviously a very powerful hormone that men need, that men use. It affects their character. It affects how much output they have. It affects how they interact with people. Their whole persona can be affected by their testosterone levels. And in order to really step into the masculine power in a very conscious way, one of the things we're going to be doing today is, wait for this plane to go by. Hang on. I know the suspense is killing you. We're going to be grounding the men's testicles, so that you can really anchor your manhood. The expression of men being emasculated all relates to this part of the anatomy not being grounded. And so with women, we ground our ovaries, because this is where women collect a lot of energy as they try to heal people, and a lot of male energy gets in these ovaries. So women, we ground our ovaries. And for men, we're going to be grounding the testicles. So super important. And I noticed that even my mentor doesn't know about this, even though he's a very masculine, manly kind of man. This is just another way that men can have an up-leveled way of operating in their energy field. And so this is some of the things we're going to be talking about today, or doing, as we're clearing our energy field today for men. So I'm curious, do we have some men in the audience that might be new here, that and maybe this whole concept of what we're going to be doing here might be new to you. So what we're going to be doing is a process called running your energy. We're going to be running your energy, and this is a way of moving energy through our energy field so that it clears all the blocks, all the things that are bringing us down into this lower vibrating 3D kind of energy where everything is a struggle and everything is hard. And this process of running your energy is actually outlined in my book, Access Your Ultimate Power, The Blueprint to Infinite Intelligence. And it is available on Amazon. And so this book explains the whole process of the infinity system, the infinity scale, and how you can use this system to run energy through your field so we can raise our vibration. And so one of my gifts is being able to measure frequencies. So we're going to measure some things right now to make sure that we have a starting point, and then we know what we're going to be clearing. And then at the end, we also check so that we know we cleared what we had intended. So that's the beauty of the system, is that it's very thorough and it is very effective and efficient. This is kind of the new paradigm moving forward, especially in businesses, is how to become more efficient so that we're using less time and we have more time available for the things we love. So let's measure a few things. We're going to measure, hang on a second here. We're going to measure, okay, spells, curses, and whether we're going to check and see whether or not the men on this call, and this will also be men that are listening to this out into the future, whether or not your testicles are grounded. So I'm getting that they're not. And let's check on spells. There's about 10. And chording, about 15 chords. So we'll find out where those are landing so that you can get a better idea of how these chords, people siphoning off energy from you, how they're affecting you. And also, we talked more about this last week, but how anger, many men use this as their sort of their default energy to get stuff done. They always run like about 50% anger, and it kind of keeps things moving. Not making anger wrong, it has its place, most definitely. But to use it as a daily fuel source, one, it's exhausting. And so men, I've noticed, are really discovering how wiped out they feel, just exhausted and drained, because they're trying to use the same old 3D paradigm to get stuff done. And we've stepped into a whole new way of operating. So I'm glad if you're here, that's because you're ready to up level into this new way of operating. So any questions or comments that we have so far about what I'm talking about? Are you resonating with what we've got going on here? And while you're writing, we'll go ahead and get started with clearing these energies so that men can really start to step into their manhood. You know, people, I know, I could just feel this energy on the planet where we're longing for, especially women are longing for men to really step up into their manhood so that we feel protected and safe, and but in a healthy way. The whole women's movement came about because there were so many aggressive men that were being abusive to women. And so the pendulum swung so far the other way that there's this huge imbalance, and men don't know, which way to go. Either way, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so it's hard to know which direction to turn because you're fucked either way. So we are going to start changing that paradigm by helping you step into your true, authentic power and really grounding your manhood. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's get started with putting down a really effective grounding cord that goes from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the planet. And so this, it's like a big pipe that goes from your root chakra all the way to the center of the earth. It's great. And then we send those roots down from our feet, and we're going to bring that earth energy up through our legs and down the grounding. Let's see if there's a worry circle. Yes, out to the third layer. So this is a very common energy for both men and women, where there's just this fear of stepping into our power. And a lot of that relates to past lives, when we stepped into our power and then we, had our heads cut off, or we were burned at the stake, or somehow sawn asunder. So we're pulling in this energy at the root. And as we pull it into that second layer, there's a lot of anger and rage here. So there's also something that's holding this anger in place. And these are control beings. So we're going to use a black flame right at the base of our spine. And some of you women might have a man in mind that's not in this, maybe they're not on the call, but you know that it would be beneficial to help them out energetically. So you can always ask them as a spirit, if you have their permission to have you help them. And so they could be included in and on these healings. So we're pulling in this worry circle. There you go. So we've cleared those control beings at the root. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to, let's see if we should do this. We're going to ground the heart next. We're going to go up to the heart chakra, which is 100% open, because those of you that come here have big, huge open hearts. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ground the heart, though, because the heart doesn't feel safe. So we're going to ground the heart. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to the root chakra. So this is why the heart doesn't feel open, or it doesn't feel safe to open and ground. It's open, but it's not grounded. Is out to the 15th layer. So this is that 1% energy, that energy I talked about earlier, the powers that be, that oppressive energy on the planet. There's more control beings here. Let's use more black flames right at your root chakra, and trust that these flames have enough intelligence that it can go out into the aura, and it can find these control beings, transmute these energies, all with our powerful imagination. So we are just beginning to discover how powerful we are. And so I've been given the task this lifetime to be at the front of the wave with this stuff, bringing it all to you. I'm just a natural explorer, and because of doing this work, I'm pretty darn fearless. And so can navigate both the dark and light worlds with great ease. So we let's see if we can ground that heart now. Yes, so now we can ground that heart. So now, women, you can ground your ovaries just by putting a grounding cord from both ovaries, and then let it ground down into the grounding cord. And men, because the testicles are not grounded, you're just going to imagine a grounding cord from the testicles, and it's going to go into and merge with the grounding cord. There's a lot of rage right now in this area, so we're just going to let that drain down the grounding. And there's some control beings here as well. No surprise. Wow, well, that's a surprise. That there's 50 fear entities preventing men from grounding their testicles. So we're going to use a black flame right at the testicles, and we're going to transmute all of this energy that doesn't want men to really own their masculine, their true masculine power. Oena paeki nai tipukui eama a tate nekia e payaka mo oena titia ne ka eama a ye kupuye. That is the language of light for those of you who are new. And yeah, let's see if that. Okay, so still not grounded. So now we're going to use a rainbow flame. The next bigger energy than control beings are the watchers. They hang out in the 50th layer of our energy field. And so we're going to use a rainbow flame now at the testicles. And we are going to transmute this watcher energy that doesn't want humanity to expand from this layer of oneness that's at the 40th layer. So they're out here trying to keep us all compressed and not expanding. So we're going to use a rainbow flame here. Boy anaye maye ko oikuye tumoyo apapaena kikia e maye. Okay, good. Okay, let's see if they can. There. Now they are grounded. If there's any men on the call, I'd like you to just share if you noticed any difference, because this is the first time I've ever done this. And your feedback would be especially helpful, even if you're listening to this as a recording. And if you are, use hashtag recording and let us know what you discovered, because I'm learning this in the process, and your feedback would be super helpful. Okay, I mean, I know what I just did, but I just want to know how it translates on the other side. Okay, great. So now we are ultra grounded, right? Okay, great. So now we're going to start connecting with pure source energy. We're going to start bringing that down through our creative rings, even if you don't know how many you have. We now have access to an infinite number of rings. The minimum is three creative rings above our head. It breaks through to infinity at 100 rings. So this is just one area that has expanded since I've written my book. So we're bringing pure source down through these creative rings. And as it comes in, it's stopping right at the crown. This is kind of piggybacking on last week when we talked about men stepping into their sovereignty. So right here at the crown, interesting, all the way out to the 50th layer, this is where the watchers hang out. So let's use a rainbow flame right at the crown as we transmute these energies that relate to being sovereign, us being the boss of ourselves. We are the masters of our universe, and we create everything in our life. And so what we're creating in our life is just a manifestation of what's going on here. So the more that we can clear this, the higher the frequencies we can live in every single day, the more permission we're going to have to live the life that we choose. So this crown, this permission circle right at our crown, is pulling into the third layer. So that's where the power of our sovereignty, they're not connected. So we're going to pull this in. Asha, great. Thanks for sharing. experiencing pain while grounding the ovaries. So yeah, that's pain is generally resistance. So there was some resistance to the energies that we're releasing. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, good. So now the crown, that little permission circle is clear. So now we should be able to bring pure source through the crown. There it goes. Sixth chakra. So it's stopping right at the sixth chakra behind our forehead. This is where our pineal gland is, right here. And it's how we see the world. And right now it's congested out to the third layer. That's more of that powerless energy that you're feeling. So let's clear that by using a black flame, because there is more control beings here altering and influencing what you think about. So we all know who they is, or if you don't, use your imagination. They have been using mind control for a very long time, since the 40s at least. So they've really perfected this. Okay, great. And that's how they can make the whole planet run run and start hoarding toilet paper because they know how to use mind control. Okay, so getting back to, okay, there we go. So bringing this down to the sixth chakra and through the throat. So we're bringing pure source down through that central core. Central core, it's stopping right at the throat, out to that third layer. So this is where you as a man might not feel like you have a voice, and what you say doesn't matter. That certainly can be seen in the family courts and the whole legal system. Men have very little voice anymore in the legal system. So pulling all this energy in right at the throat, a lot of rage. And so one of the things that really is exhausting for men is men tend to manage their anger. And that's exhausting, because anger is a very big energy. It's a huge energy. So if you're always trying to manage your anger and biting your tongue, and it's exhausting. So much better to step into the power of our voice, because that's usually at the root cause of most anger, because we don't feel heard, we don't feel understood. So right at the throat, more control being. So we're going to use a black flame right at the throat, and we're going to transmute that energy that doesn't allow us to speak up and speak our truth. And so, there's still these even doing all of this energy work is certainly not going to change the court system and all of that. But what we're doing here is we're helping all of you to become better humans, so that we're not fighting the system. We are just emerging and rising up as better people, creating a better humanity, better culture, better ways of relating to each other, so that there is no fight. There's no fighting any of that out there. We just keep becoming better humans. And just think if everybody did that, if everybody just became a better human, this world would be very different. We wouldn't need the court systems. So as we're bringing pure source down through the throat, okay, so we're still working there. We're going to use a black flame to transmute these control beings here. Onaye maye tukuye amakaye akanatike pupoya ianakiapaye kinatata. And so it's not just women that have had their heads cut off because of speaking their truth. Men also have a lot of residual energy here for being killed at the throat. And yeah, let's clear that now too. Ooh. So we're clearing about 10 lifetimes when you were killed at the throat for speaking your truth. So there's a ton of ways that we can get killed at the throat. You can get hung, choked, slit your throat, guillotine, etc., etc. So let's see. Out to the third layer, there's a lot of rage and more control beings. So let's use more black flames right at the throat. Aye ama ke anati ya kopo ye ana ye ama kopo aye niti. Okay, good. So now we're clearing all of that energy at the throat. Okay, so let's see if we can bring pure source down through the throat. There it goes. Yep. Down through the throat and throat, heart, stopping at the heart, third layer. So this is where the power, our power doesn't feel connected to our hearts. More control beings. Let's use a black flame. Black flame should be your friend by now. You can use it for so many things. Bad past relationships, it's really good for. And all of these spiritual energies that are invisible, but we're using our invisible imagination to counter all of this. Okay, so we're still using black flame right at the heart. Okay, good. Keep going. Okay, there's interesting. Okay, so we talked about spells earlier. Spells are showing up in the heart now. So this is another thing we're going to clear here at the heart. About 50. So we use black flames for spells as well. So yeah, we're just going to use a black flame. And so we're using our intention to focus the black flame towards control beings, towards spells. Let's see if there's any curses in here. Yes. Also about 50. So anytime anybody says, fuck you, they're casting a curse. And so those can collect right here in the heart chakra. Let's use a black flame. We're going to transmute all of these energies today so that you can access more of your infinite intelligence here in the heart, your ability to self-generate love. Now, we've been programmed to think that everything that we need comes from the outside. We go outside to get love, and then we feel loved. But the truth is, we self-generate love, and then we fill ourselves up to overflowing, and then we attract more of that. So when two people come together and they're full, then you amplify that and magnify that. It's amazing. We're taking all of this stuff to a whole nother level, right? Okay, so we're clearing in the heart these spells. Okay, so there's 3 spells left and 2 curses. Let's look at these individually so that we can really get to some deeper stuff that's related to these spells and curses. So, okay, good. Danya's sharing that her migraine has gotten less intense since we cleared the crown. Great job. And so, even though we're directing this and focusing this towards men today, a lot of you are clearing past lives as men. We've all been on both sides of the field. So, okay, so now we're focusing, before I get distracted, on spells and curses. And we're going to go to the root chakra. out to that third layer is we're clearing. So this is like a curse where someone has cursed you to not feel safe to step into your power. And so then you don't, because it doesn't feel safe. It feels like you might get killed again. And so not literally, but the threat energy is there. So we're using a black flame right at that root chakra. Oye makaye tia napo kuye maaye. Okay, good. That's feeling lighter. Okay, so the curses are cleared. There's still 3 spells. Okay, now I was saying to go to the crown, all the way up to the 25th layer. So this is an energy that doesn't allow you to feel, it has a lot of fear in stepping into our sovereignty, our ownership of ourselves. And there's a belief or a thought that says, who do you think you are to be the boss of you? Because we, all these other outer influences, are the boss of you. So we're going to use a black flame right at the crown. Okay, good. Yeah, these the energies that be really have had a stronghold on men and their ability to rise up into their authentic masculine power. Right now, they've got men in an angry kind of power that becomes damaging, destructive, etc. But this anger is what feeds the beast, so they love it when everybody's angry. Okay, let's see if how many spells we have left. We have 2 left. I'm going to go to the heart, 3rd layer, more control beings. So we're going to use a black flame right at the heart. So this is a spell that has, we're talking about men in general, but it happens with a lot of people where we're just always on this quest looking on the outside for love and for admiration and for validation, and so that's not where it lives. Because that's like the elusive butterfly. You're looking endlessly for it on the outside, because that's not where it lives. It lives here. And so that's the belief that we're transmuting right now with this black flame at this spell that's been cast on humanity. But I think especially men who have, there's more pressure and more expectations for men to perform, and they don't feel worthy or valuable unless they've done something of significance, and there's just so much pressure on men. So we're clearing a lot of these programs as we're speaking. Okay, good. 7, 6, 5. Okay, so there's no more spells. Curses are 0. Let's see chords. It's about 5 chords. I'm going to go to that root chakra. And I'm going to use a black flame because these are not, well, I don't know if there's a such thing as a helpful chord. People chording to you are just siphoning off energy. So it's a question of whether you use a violet flame or a black flame. If you're in doubt, use a black flame. That's like, will get everything. There's good. There we go. Some more energy. So I think I got distracted with the whole running your energy with all these other things. So let's see where we are in that process of bringing pure source down the backside. Great. Let's bring it up the front now. 50-50 mixture coming up the front through the second, where it's stopping, where there's a lot of anger and rage. Let's just drop all this anger down the grounding cord. So you could start tapping into your true power right at your solar plexus, where instead of using anger to push and motivate you, you keep just taking your next effortless action. It's amazing how much you can get done by doing that. I posted a picture the other day. I was helping my brother move. My siblings have been helping him move. And so one day it was just me. And so I was unpacking boxes for his kitchen, probably unpacked about 40 boxes. And but it wasn't hard. You just keep taking your next effortless action. Just keep, it's how you get things done. Okay, so let's see if we can bring this up the front. Second, third, so right at the solar plexus, third layer, third chakra. That's like a big stop sign. More control beings. Let's use a black flame. So these control beings are what the 1% uses to control humanity. And men are no exception to this rule. Okay, good. So let's see if we can bring pure source up through the solar plexus now. And heart and throat, 6 crown rings, all the layers of the aura. 15th layer, let's start at the bottom as we lift this 1% influence out of your energy field. And then we're going to jump out to the 25th layer where there's a bunch of fear. And one of the biggest fears here that's showing up is the fear of not doing enough. That's really a lot of pressure on men, that it's kind of like not, like you have to work hard for a living. That's one belief, that you can never do enough. It all relates to this heart stuff, that because you already are enough. And so you're trying to prove something that's already true. Okay, 15th layer. Let's jump out to the 50th layer, those watchers, lifting that influence out of our energy field so we can keep expanding. And then last but not least, we're going to clear that circle of reciprocity, so that if you're a great giver, that's great. The giving stops right at this shoulder here, just past the shoulder. So you start to give, but then you stop. So let's bring that giving. This is the masculine giving, implementing side. And so we're just gently pulling this energy out that right arm as you give out into the world. You get stuff done, building things, creating structures. That's all part of the masculine energy. Okay, and then we're going to put the fingertips together and we're going to allow the receiving, that vulnerable, scary receiving that needs to happen, so that you can start self-generating love. So we're bringing that loving heart energy out that right arm. And it's coming up the left arm. There it goes. Down into the heart. Let it stir in there. This is how you self-generate love. Fill yourself up. Through the heart, throat, 6 crown rings. Excellent. And so I'm just checking to see what other things you may have noticed have changed. Hang on. Just thinking about something. Okay, so I think we got everything we were talking about today. We opened up that circle of reciprocity. We cleared spells and curses and cords. We grounded those testicles so that you can really start stepping into that manhood. And this is sort of an introduction because a lot of men don't know about my work or well, and it's just that it's so beneficial across the board. And so we're going to be doing a 6-week program. But for right now, we'd love for you to get on the list so that you can be among the first to know when we're actually going to be starting this program. So there's going to be a wait list where you can get on to be notified. And this 6-week program is just going to go deeper and deeper each week with only men. So this is the first time I've done a solo men's group. And I'm excited to be able to do this because I know that when you do a co-ed group, it's a different energy than if it's just women or it's just men. So I'm excited to be able to just bring a safe container to hold just for men, to be able to address all these issues that are unique to men. And they'll have the support of their peers, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So this is where you can sign up for the pre-launch of. There's nothing to purchase. It's just to let you know when we're going to actually be doing it. And so when there's enough interest, we will introduce the program. So I'm hoping it will be in October, but we're waiting for enough men to be to show interest. And so if you're a woman, you might want to sign up your men friends, and just so that they can get introduced to this and you can find out when it's all going to happen. So I'm excited about that, and I hope this has been helpful for you. This is a new way of grounding for men, and it's going to be, I believe, a really powerful change maker for a lot of men. All right. Well, I hope you're going to go out and enjoy this weekend. And for those of you who don't want to wait till October and want help now or know you need help now, it always starts with a vibrational altitude report where I measure more than 50 things without seeing you, talking to you, knowing anything about you. And this is where it all starts so that you know where you're at energetically. I know where you're at. And if you're a healer, if you're a conscious man, conscious healer, that has your own tools, your own gifts and abilities, I tell you where all of the blocks are. You can use your gifts to see if you can shift and clear things. It comes with a 30-minute conversation where we can discover how effective you were with clearing your own energies. So hopefully that will be something that you'd like to check out and find out where you are energetically. You don't know where you're going until where you are on the map. So I hope you all enjoy your weekend. It's always great to get out in nature. I am back in Southern California now, and I will be here for about a month working from here. So we're headed to the beach later today. So you're so welcome, Danya. Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you back next week for more inspiring information and wisdom. And have a great weekend. Sending much love. Namaste.